us another day. Only to scream into the night. Nothing ever tries to change, even if I want to realize. 'Cause I've been sitting here, same old ways, taking off without the same mistake. Darling, when you go away, it won't be as simple for you.
Yo, guys, Old Man G here, RDS, back again with another live from Red Devil Studio. It isn't takeover related, funny enough. It isn't takeover related. I've not heard from Tom for a while. This whole takeover talk has taken a bit of a quiet backseat for a while, which is fascinating given how many people saying it was close and what have you. So, but I'm sure we'll see Tom again at some point this week. But I'm not joined with Tom. I'm actually joined by Phoenix and Eddie, both from their respective YouTube channels. Phoenix was his first appearance on the show, who has a YouTube channel and a Twitter page, and obviously, I'm going to plug that. Eddie from Eddie's Football Waffles. Obviously, Eddie's links in the description as well. Shout out to Eddie. Thank you for coming back on the show. Guys, obviously, fellow United fans, how are you doing? How's everyone doing? Oh, sorry, before I even get to it, how's everyone in the chat doing? Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio if you're new as well. Follow us on Twitter, etc., etc. This is interactive, so have your say, get involved. I don't take things from there. But yeah, guys, how you doing?
Yeah, man. Just really trying to deal with this transfer market. All this, all the hype. It's like the circus that we always go through. A little bit, annoyed with the takeover, all of that stuff. But other than that, yeah, doing all right, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I'm not doing too bad. I mean, I'll just echo what you've just said there. I mean, everything going on with the transfer window, it's hard to keep up with it half the time because you don't know who's coming and who's going. But yeah, thank you ever so much for having me on the show.
No worries. Thank you so much. Shout out to Elias in the chat. He said, I was so pissed off. I went to the mountains for 7 to 8 days because I don't want to hear nothing about the transfer takeover. I came back, same old United, Link FC, Rumors FC. It is, and you've been a long time follower of this channel. I think you summarized pretty much what everyone thinks right now regarding Manchester United. I think people are quite tired. So I'm putting transfer news, taking news all that to the side for one now, and really just sort of break down and kind of reflect on what has been obviously an interesting season for Manchester United. I'll start with you, Phoenix. So just because obviously the tier list is to the right, but what are your just kind of overall general thoughts on how you felt the season was for Manchester United?
I mean, the season started off very shaky. Well, not very shaky. I'll probably say extremely shaky. 4 games in, and against teams that on paper we should have beaten, but lost really heavily to. But I guess that's the same for quite a few clubs. Really, you get a new manager in, the players don't really know how that manager plays. The manager's getting used to the players that he's got, so it was going to be a shaky start really for Ten Hag and United, but over the season, we picked up and we turned a lot of those bad results into great results, and we ended up getting Champions League football out of it. Where a lot of the pundits at the beginning of the season were saying we've got no chance of Champions League football, and a lot of my friends as well were saying United aren't going to get Champions League football. But now next season we've got Champions League football, so we kind of silenced a lot of the pundits and a lot of City and Arsenal fans, which for me is a is the biggest win out of the whole season, really.
Fair enough. And yeah, Eddie, go for it. Yeah, what
I'm just gonna say, Felix, with a nice summary there, man. It's like it's hard to just put everything in a nutshell because like the season was like 38 Premier League games and then the extra competitions. I think we're one of the teams to play like the most games in the calendar.
Up until a point,
yeah. So it's like Ten Hag, man. We've said he's like he's been a wizard. He's done well to get blood out of a stone with some of these players. Rebirthed a lot of players like Wan-Bissaka, brought through people like Garnacho, who's given us some good moments to celebrate, and obviously won us the Carabao Cup, where a lot of us were thinking we were not even going to win any silverware. The task was to just get the football, calibrated with like possession, play more high press. But we've had some good bonuses this year. We've had some things to celebrate. Obviously, near the end, we couldn't sabotage those pesky neighbors, those noisy neighbors that are trying to take over, man. It's like, yeah, we've got to try and ignore that and acknowledge that we're in the process of trying to like get back some power and compared to last season, you got to say this was a great season because last season we were close to being called the new Banter FC. That was the thing. So yeah, it was an overall good season.
Yeah,
fair enough. I mean, obviously, I've spoken to Eddie about this before in terms of how I think this was on the live after the FA Cup. I don't think I said anything after what City did, but it's difficult for. I think I said something along the lines of like it's an okay season. It's an okay season because there's a lot of stuff. I'm happy that Manchester United obviously broke the trophy curse, won the Carabao Cup, and I'm happy that we're in a better position now than we were before. But there's still quite a lot of things that happened this season for me that I'm not happy with Manchester United. That it's difficult for me to say that it was a good season. Like an okay season, okay, I can say it's okay. I'm not going to say it's bad because we won a trophy and we got top 4, but there's certain things that I look at and go, if this happens again, or this type of what I'm seeing happens again next season, we could be in trouble. Which is why
about like the freak results, like 7-0.
Not in the freak. So yeah, so the one of it is a part. The freak results obviously were to set new records. Like there's no way for me it's acceptable for you to concede 7+ goals away to Anfield. It's just not acceptable. I don't know. It just isn't. Like, and I couldn't. Others could dismiss it as like it was a freak. It just sort of happened. But it's like, okay, yeah, but it didn't happen under Moyes or Van Gaal or Mourinho or even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Like, so, it just shouldn't have happened. And the fact that it wasn't the only time that Manchester United capitulated that season against City early in the season, like, okay, 6-3, so like, but when you think about like what other teams in the Premier League, can you name any other team in the Premier League that conceded 7-6? Aside from, I think Bournemouth conceded 9 to Liverpool. So I'll give them that. Yeah. But City 6. Aside from that, I can't think of anybody else. And you're Manchester United, not Bournemouth, who haven't spent barely any money on getting players, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Just real quickly though, I gotta say, like, this team has some PTSD from Ole's season last season. Like, we saw that the team was capitulating against Liverpool. Yeah. Like, okay, it was 5-0. It was less, but it's like there's still some of the same players. I don't capitulating.
I don't disagree with that, but this is what I'm saying. That's why, like I said, I can't necessarily say it was a good season because I still saw sheds of what you just said. Ole's PTSD, the capitulation against Sevilla again was like, I was like, what the, and that's the Sevilla one is the one that I'm more concerned about because Liverpool and City, I can be like whatever. Sevilla for me was what concerned me because I was like, this is a team who we peppered, who we destroyed, but we weren't able to finish. And yet somehow they weren't great. And yet somehow we let the game go away from us. And then we went there and just fell apart.
Yeah.
Over those, that's the one where I was like, okay, there's still this issue in this team. There's still this interesting team where, like, when they're put under pressure, they can potentially fall apart and they don't know what to do. And quite frankly, when I look at how some of the other teams play towards the end of the season, you know, we didn't win an away game against a team in the top 9.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
And we played against the top 9. I'm looking, I'm like, which team in the top 9 did I say? Yeah, we really, throughout the whole season, we really went and played at them and really kind of, you know, really, we outplayed them. Did we ever outplay Newcastle over 2 legs? No, not City, not Liverpool, not really Arsenal, to be honest. Even though we beat them on Old Trafford, they were still pretty good for most parts of the Old Trafford. Brentford, maybe okay. I'll give you that. Brighton, definitely not. Who else was in the top 9? I'm trying to think. Okay, Spurs. Okay, yeah, maybe you could say we outplayed Spurs. Not that was particularly difficult under Conte, and they've also got their own mess right now. That's it. You know, so essentially, what I'm trying to say is that I'm saying we had an okay season, but there's still a lot of stuff that I saw that I'm not quite happy with, and I'm hoping, and I hoped that the takeover would have happened by now, whereby we would have been able to be like, right, okay, new owners in, new vision, right, let's start fresh. And now now I'm even more worried because it's like, if this takeover is going to happen, it's not going to be finalized before the end of before the beginning of next season, and you can already see that our transfer window is being affected by this takeover. So if you're getting this, what I think was an okay season, and you're going to the season where you're looking at guys, the Tonali signing from Newcastle.
It's a big signing, man. Oh,
big signing.
Very technical, man. I'm jealous of that signing, man.
People telling me, oh yeah, Newcastle going to fade or not going to do anything or stuff like that. I don't know where that's coming from. Like they're gonna be stronger. You know, Liverpool going to be back. Chelsea, if they get their act together, could potentially back. So overall, what I'm trying to say is it's just like it's very difficult for me to be content and then gas going into next season when the season for me didn't end particularly. Obviously, City winning the treble, just with the United. Yes, okay, we weren't good enough, but I was like, I expect at least a little bit more of a fight than what I saw in that game. If I'm perfectly honest, like I'm not saying that we were terrible in that game, weren't that bad, but it didn't seem to me like a team that realized that they were potentially giving the best achievement for the club over to another rival. That's not the. I didn't see that aggression, that anger, that passion. I just saw players that were like, "It is what it is. They're better than us."
And I mean, especially a United team that's played against City countless times. That as soon as the whistle went in that final, United just looked stiff. We didn't look like we turned up. We still looked like we were on the bus. We hadn't actually got off it. And to me, that is just not the United that I know. That's not the United that I grew up watching. Because any time that the whistle went, whether it was a normal Premier League fixture or FA Cup, Champions League match, Carabao Cup match, United were on the press straight away. That final, we just weren't there. No fighting them whatsoever. And after when the first goal went in, yeah, we picked up a little bit, but not the way that we used to back in Fergie days. And for me, I was disappointed watching that FA Cup final, and I don't know if you both agree, but to me, that FA Cup final was just atrocious for United.
I was gonna say, mate. I was gonna I agree with what you're saying because I watched the final twice. Yeah, don't ask me how I made it through the second time, but I was doing a watch along for the first airing of it. I was on someone else's channel doing a watch along for it. So when you do watch alongs, you're kind of half in the game and you're half in the comments, trying to react to the comments. So I was when Gundogan's goal went in after 12 seconds, my head was gone, and I was kind of in and out of the game because I was just stunned. And like my friend saying here, man, the lack of fight was disgusting. I did see the tactics that Ten Hag was trying to do, trying to contain that team, but there was no not enough slide tackling, not enough rough housing. It was like it was tame.
Yeah.
It was like a lion rolling over, giving away its pride, its territory, and it was just like. Yeah, we had that chance to really humble these guys they've done the treble now. We had a chance to do it, but yeah. But I will say one thing, guys, is I think is a case of burnout. Yeah, we've seen it earlier in the season where, like, for the Liverpool game, it seemed in that second half that the legs went, not just the mentality. It seemed like the bodies went as well. I think I'm a little bit worried that Ten Hag tries to stay with too small of a contingent of players and plays them too much. Because if you guys remember the away game at Villa where we lost, I think it was 3-1. You could see they were burnt out, I think, from the Europa League game the week before. It's like Ten Hag's winning mentality seems to be a little bit too what would you call it? Too gung ho sometimes. And just to come back onto like what RDS is saying, like we're all worried. We're all worried, but a big thing is, like I was saying earlier, the last season was banter. It's like, at the same time, it's not just like, oh, okay, a new manager is coming to like refresh the mentality. It's tactics as well. And if you look at the fact that we were playing counter-attack football, which was low energy for a lot of seasons, Jose, Ole, what was that, like 5 seasons, where we're not conditioned to do the high press, high energy. So I'm not surprised that these guys have burnt out this season. Let's look at another guy. This is I think it'll be a final point on this one. If we look at the way Klopp came into Liverpool, right? They were a joke for a couple of seasons when Klopp was there. It took him pretty much till like the 3rd season to actually win anything, to actually get his football calibrated. Like Ten Hag's already won a trophy as well. I know they weren't having capitulations. That's a big thing. They weren't having capitulations, but we didn't see the football until the 3rd season. So we've got to really bite down on the gum shield and like really wait for this football to be properly implemented. The takeovers messing things up, obviously, because I think the owner's not there to actually buy proper players yet. So
I think that's the thing. It's like I think the thing is it's just, and I mean I'll go to most of them because I've just seen. So I was like, what's the takeovers? So I'm not sure yet, but as soon as Tom DMs me, we will certainly have a live. But as it stands, it just seems like it's anyone's guess. Mawada, we need to be realistic. This team is in transition and gave a good fight against one of the best teams in Premier history. I was happy with the fight they put up in the final. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. And shout out to SSB in the chat, man. Hope you're doing well, buddy. I don't disagree with that. It's just that, like you say, you need to be realistic, Mo, and I am trying to be realistic because right now I'm looking at I'm not just looking at Manchester United. I'm looking at what all the other teams are doing. I'm looking at where we are, and I'm looking at because all the other teams in the league are not going to be static. The Premier League is getting more and more and more competitive, especially because money comes in. I brought up Newcastle for a reason. Everyone's assumed Newcastle were going to take 2 or 3 seasons to get to Champions League football. They're going to build, and then they got Champions League football in the first season, which equals money, which equals players, which equals prestige. And they've got the money to reinforce their squad. That's already another team that enters into the top 4 scenario that wasn't there before. On top of City, who are going to be there. So already in my mind, it's like City have already got top 4. So they're ready, or they're already there. So you look at the other spots. You've got Arsenal, you've got Newcastle now, you've got a Chelsea, you've got Spurs, you've got Liverpool, you've got United. That's 7 teams we're talking about. So the point I'm trying to make is that even if Ten Hag, even if we get the president, if we eventually get to the football yet, what does that actually look like? Does that look like 5th with a Carabao Cup? Because Newcastle, because Liverpool, because Chelsea are also advancing, are also far ahead, are also doing what they're doing. I don't see unless the new owners come in and do a madness, and by new owners I mean Qatar. I don't mean to Jim. I don't see how United right now, from what I saw this season, bridge the gap. Because quite frankly, and if people want to be honest, it's like we got top four because, in part, because Chelsea and Liverpool capitulated for most of the season. Like let's keep it a start. If Liverpool hadn't capitulated, if they'd actually strengthened their midfield, did what they did, which is what they're trying to do now, and Chelsea basically didn't have Graham Potter or Frank Lampard as coaches, let's keep it a start. If there anybody else bar Frank Lampard Potter, and I know you can only play and who's ahead of you, and you can't predict things, etc. But why I'm saying this is that those circumstances aren't going to be the same next season.
I get what you're saying. Let me just say it real quick, RDS, is that we've got to remember that there's been a lot of seasons where there's teams that just they don't show up in the supposed top six, right? I just had the picture of the Leicester City win of the Premier League coming to my mind. Like there's teams that fell off then. There's always seasons where Liverpool's falling off or Chelsea doesn't do well. I'm not saying you can just keep relying on that, but it just seems like because like there's so many things that's going on.
You have another team. You have another team like Newcastle in the mix now.
Yeah,
so that's true. That also makes things more complicated because it's like now there's a team now like now we have to worry about another team that wasn't even in the equation when it came to sort of top 5, top 6. So it's even.
I'll just say this, RDS though, just to put a little silver lining. I know it's not going to be the best thing here because top 4 is not a trophy, but it's going to become the top 5, right? So there's going to be 5 places to get that prestigious Champions League football.
Oh, you mean the Champions League? Yeah,
that's something like that. That's a big thing that people qualify for now to get the money to attract the big players. So we've got to try and count some of the positives, you know.
Fair. Right, let's get going to the tier list, man, guys. Like, so, and obviously for those in chat, shout out to anyone who's watching to like the video, and obviously for those who are watching Eddie's channel as well, shout out to you guys as well. Make sure you like and subscribe to Eddie Football Waffles channel as well. Let's get to the tier list, guys. I think and obviously, guys, it's interactive in the chat. Let us know your thoughts are. So I'll just go here. So the first player is our man. I think that's Victor Lindelof. Man. I actually think Lindelof had a good season.
He didn't play that much, did he? Really?
Oh, sorry, hold up. I just realized actually I've gone average, above average, excellent. Maybe I should put a good thing in here. Actually, give me 1 second. I'm gonna see if I can add another text box below. Give me 2 seconds. Add row below. There. That's a bit going from just average to above average is a bit big. So there you go. All right, 1 second. This is me being good. Sorry, guys. I've just realized that I messed this up again and poor. There we go. That's better. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay.
You know what, RDS? It's going to be hard to discern between above average and good. I thought above average meant good. Am I wrong?
No, I'd say no. I think good is like. I think average for me. Average is like. Good is like you've had a good season. Above average is like this player is like gone above and beyond, but it's not been like superb.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. I mean, you've got like good, and then like your above average is basically like he's had a decent season, but it's not been impeccable.
Yeah.
So it's above average. It's basically the step up from basically saying he's had a average season. Yeah. I couldn't get the words out then.
I was like, does that make sense, Eddie?
I'm just gonna go. You guys will lead this. Then I'm just gonna go with your logic.
It's like my brain knew what it wanted to say, but my brain's malfunction. Just somewhere between here, it just kind of like it just faded.
So where I put is I would put. So for example, this is Lindelof. I put Lindelof as Lindelof had a good season. For me, I don't think Lindelof have an average season in that. Like I actually think like he was solid. Above average for me, I don't think so because I think that we had more elite defenders, like I say, Lizandro was playing that like were step above Lindelof. But for what Lindelof did for most of the season, he was very consistent. And given that he was third choice, like he did what he needed to do. You know, so for me, that's why I think that like Lindelof, that's why I say Lindelof for me had a good season. In fact, I think that when we talk about all the defenders that we had, I think a lot of the defenders that we had good to above average, seasons, in my personal opinion. But the midfield we'll talk about that later. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Just for in my opinion, I just like I said earlier, I don't think he played enough games because he was, third choice.
He played a lot of games. If you put all the cup games.
Okay, cup games. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, because I'm just trying to remember. I don't really remember him that much. But yeah, I remember when he did play the games. I remember he was good, and I thought he should have been in front of the likes of Maguire. But we know what we know why Maguire gets picked because of that captaincy tax. So yeah, okay, I agree with good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with that as well.
And just the first attributes and what he brings to the table, he's been average. That's good. Yeah, exactly. I think he's between average. That's good, but I put in good because I think that especially when Lisandro, who was out for the rest of the season effectively, and Varane were out, he basically came in. He played alongside Luke Shaw at centre back. He played alongside Varane. Like, he was adaptable. He did his thing, So for what he did coming in when those guys were out, I don't remember thinking when Lindelof came in, oh my goodness, we conceded that goal because of Lindelof.
Yeah.
Lindelof was in position. Lindelof made a mistake. No, I think he did a good job for what he did, So
yeah,
that's my 2 cents. Although I think Mo thinks that it will have an average season for Lindelof. Right, let's move on. So Sabitzer. Now he was only here he was barely here, to be honest. Like, he came in January, and then he got injured for a bit. I mean, if I'm honest, he had promise, but like much like Martial, I knew from the second we signed him, was like, because I was Samasi, who's a Bayern fan, he said like he's got talent, but like he's injury prone. And me, if you can't keep fit for a loan spell, like it's no buy. But I don't know what do people think.
Yeah, I mean,
personally for me, I'd be looking to put him in NA because, as we said, we got him in January and he was pretty much injured as soon as we bought him. So he's not really, for me, he's not really had enough game time for me to be able to say whether he's had an average season or a poor season. So for me, I'd put him in NA on that one because you can't really give a full.
I mean, I
can't give a full analysis.
There's certain games where he came in and then he was, what do you call it? He was playing a professional job, is what I would say. I would say there were certain games where, like, if we didn't have him, we're having people like McTominay and we're probably, struggling in certain games. For me, I thought Sabitzer, though, like, wasn't just like, because I think he's average, to be honest. I thought he would be better than what he showed, though. Like, I thought he would be levels above McTominay. I don't think he's that much better. He's better, but not like that much better. Like, I've expected to see like a bit more of carrying the ball, just a bit more of like, what do you call it? Like, how Gundogan, like, he will control the pace of the game, things like that, do a bit more playmaking. I thought he was a bit too passive, but I think just average for me.
I would agree. I mean, I agree with Phoenix that like you can't completely judge him, but I still thought that like for a player that like, because it's clear to me he wants to stay at Manchester United. So if a player that wants to stay, at least in the initial, because that some players that when they come in, sort they give a good impression of themselves, and even though they end up being bad afterwards after a couple of games, but I just didn't get that from Sabitzer. Like, as I agree with Eddie, like he's definitely better than McTominay. So, but it wasn't that much better. There was maybe 1 or 2 games like, okay, this guy's good, really had a good performance. But in other games, I'm like, this guy is just a passenger. This guy is just, this guy is average, basically, you know. So, but yeah, he wasn't kept on. He wasn't there. So, you know, NA or average. I mean, I don't. Let me guys, let me know in the chat where you want where we should put Sabitzer. Do you think he's had enough to make a decision? Should it be average, or should we is there not enough implement NA? Let me know in the thoughts and we'll move him up. We don't all agree. Next one is Lisandro Martinez, World Cup winner, man. I think before the injury, I would argue he was our best defender, personally.
Yeah.
You know, I think he had an above average season. But what do you guys think?
I mean, I'd go with above average. I mean, he certainly did. He was certainly one of our best defenders out of all of them. He was always there he was always there to make the tackles. He was always there at the breakdowns, and he always made sure that the defense got back. Was it a great season? No, I wouldn't say it was an excellent season, but he was definitely the loudest and definitely the best defender out of all of them for last season.
You know what, mate? I think we've got to give him excellent, man. I've got to fight for Martinez because it's the first, it's the first season as well in the Prem. All these pundits like Jamie Carragher was saying, "Oh, too small." You know, had all this criticism, big pressure as well, man. I mean, the price tag was quite high as well, where pressure comes with that, and for him to get slip into that back four and survive that game that he had with Maguire, where we got turned over. No, was it 2 games? We got turned over by Brighton at the start, and then Brentford 4-0, and he got subbed as well. And for him to come back from that mentally was awesome. And like my friend saying as well, like the certain tackles he was doing, which was just like he made me enjoy watching tackling. I don't enjoy watching defending, but Martinez, he actually makes it look entertaining. Yeah, and then the way he was playing on the board as well, like he plays from the back, like he looks like he could play defensive mid as well. Like he just showed us like some previews of what he can really do. So for me, and then one big thing as well. Remember when he got his first goal? Yeah, it was against Arsenal. Yeah, and it was from a corner. There was a melee of defenders around. Martinez had a head bandage and went in for a header with an injury to his head. That's how brave he is. Yeah, this guy, man. I mean, the way he's celebrating tackles as well, like, you know, just cheering when we make tackles. Nah, man, come on, gotta be excellent, guys. Come on, guys.
I mean, I actually would have been agreeing with Phoenix, but I see Eddie's point because, like, especially for a first season, like to go in from a first to essentially be, I would argue, Manchester United's best defender in his first season, despite the fact, as you said, he got initially dropped for Maguire, who we'll talk about later. And not to mention the fact that, like, he was obviously crucial to Argentina's, World Cup win, obviously that in that as well. And let's keep it a stack. The reason why De Gea has the most clean sheets, is it really because of De Gea? Or was it because of the defensive partnership that was in front of me? I know he got the Golden Glove. I'm not trying to slate the guy. I'm not saying, but I would argue.
Yes, real quickly there. This is why we got to look back at people like Petr Cech as well. When he was getting all the plaudits in that Chelsea team, it was the defenders that were doing the work. And I think De Gea was getting protected.
But it's like the saying is, a workman's only as good as his tools. Same with a goalkeeper. A goalkeeper is only as good as his defenders. Without the defenders, goalkeepers got nothing. So, for me, if United didn't have the defenders that we did, David De Gea wouldn't. We would have been losing by heftier score lines than just 7-0 against Liverpool.
Yeah. And shout out to John. I think it makes making a lot of sense, and obviously Raul as well. That Salah. Yeah, that's the only blip I would say, but I don't want to hold that against him. Salah. That mean that Salah, where he sent Martinez to like another dimension, is kind of He'll need to get, but we move. We move. I think he can still go in excellence. So there we go. Fred. Listen. I'm not gonna say Fred had a good season, but I'll say Fred had an average season. I don't think Fred. I think it's a bit, considering that there's certain players that I'm like, no, this player had a poor season, a disaster of a season. Fred, my conclusion for Fred is always like he's not going to be a world class, but at the same time, certainly season in times where I'm like, he was desperately needed, like where this is the guy that needs to come on and be physical and run around, etc., and do something to disrupt. Like that's, we know what Fred does. We know what his game is. So I think, especially, I think the game that I think surprised me most was that first leg against Sevilla, when I was like, why isn't Fred coming on? Like, this is the perfect type of, for him to sort of, we don't need slow, because towards the second half of the season, like, and especially when Eriksen came back, I was like, Eriksen, McTominay, basically, these guys don't have legs. Like, we're just getting bypassed in the midfield. They can't run back. Like, we need. I'm not saying Fred is technically gifted, but you know that he has the energy to press. And I still remember that masterclass he did against City at Old Trafford, when he basically man-marked KDB out of the game, took him out of the game. Haaland shut down, and we got the win. Arguably I felt the most tactically. In that game, I was like, wow, I can see how United have tactically beaten Manchester City's Pep. Not lucky, but like we've actually been able to tactically win this game, even though, and yes, if the referee helped us, whatever, but still, it's fine. But
I was going to mention that as well, that VAR decision. For the goal.
So, which helped us, so, but still, overall, for the overall 90 minutes, because that was, I think, was it the 78th or 80th sort of minute, so it was still like more towards the end of the game. So for the first 75 minutes, we really had them, So yeah, I personally think Fred should go on average, but I don't know what people think.
Yeah, I think average is fair. For me, Fred is so frustrating. Like you were mentioning a lot of great points, like the tenacity that he has to like the legs to defend, to man mark. It's just a pity that we never see a consistent Fred. I can't remember a season where we said, yeah, Fred is just that reliable guy. It's only like a few matches there, a few matches here that are good, and then we see him get bodied by people like Gray. I don't know if you guys remember a few seasons ago, he was getting shoulder barged by a guy that looks like a lightweight. He was getting just barged off the ball like a child. So there's like certain things he'll do like that where he's not got enough strength, and then he's passing sometimes. It's just horrible. Sometimes you're thinking like, I'm not surprised that people have said, "Oh, where's his Brazilian passport?" It's like there's sometimes where you wouldn't think he's actually a serious player. But I think what averages it out to him being average is that he's had certain games, like when he was against Barcelona this season as well, man. Like especially I think the second leg where he got a goal as well. His defending was
an assist, I think, as well. Yeah,
was an assist as well. Yeah. And I heard, I was just going to say, I heard a nickname come out from Ten Hag. Supposedly, he called Fred the Mosquito, and I'm not surprised he called him that, because when this guy buzzes around, he's a nuisance, man, stinging people's legs, just cancelling out attacks. But it's just the consistency's not there. So yeah, I go average.
Yeah, I go average. For me, I've always said with Fred, like if he's happy to be a squad player, I think I'm happy for Fred as a squad, as United build a squad, and that's the reason why City won the treble. They have a squad. I'm happy for Fred to be a squad player. I think we can do better for starting 11, but for squad, especially if like you've got tired legs out there, need someone to really come in and press and do those things. I'm happy for that to happen. So, but anyway, let's move on. That's not Palestri. Who's that? What was her name? Who's that? That's really bad. Someone remind me. Okay, that's not Palestri though. That's not.
That's it.
Is it Palestri? It might be actually. I'm looking at.
I can't tell. I was on Google.
Hang
trying to
on.
search for a picture.
Yeah, it's
Hang
Palestri.
on, I'm on the United app now because I'm questioning myself.
Yeah, I'm looking at him like because Palestri looks a lot, but
No,
I'm
it's
looking at
Fernandez.
Abbey's.
Isn't that Alvaro Fernandez?
No. No, I don't think it. Yeah, I'm looking. It has to be Palestri. No. This is Palestri here. This is Palestri here.
Yeah, that's Alvaro Fernandez.
Oh.
Sure it is.
Ooh.
Because I mean that. I don't know whether you can see it.
It is.
Because that image looks. Yeah, it's Alvaro
Fernandez.
Okay.
Fernandez.
NA, because I don't really know much about Alvaro. I don't think he's even started a single game this season.
No, he's not.
Yeah, I thought he's just been on loan, hasn't he? This season.
And thanks to Tracy
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry, I confused the South Americans. You know, so I apologize. I'm sorry. Christian Eriksen, guys. Christian Eriksen.
What we're saying. It's a hard one.
I
mean, he's not had above average season.
I gotta say, average. I don't want to put it.
I think it's really. I'm umming and ahhing between either a good season or an average season.
Yeah.
If I had to, I'd have to give it an average season. I don't. Personally, for me, I just don't feel like he did enough to warrant a good season.
Yeah, there was a drop off.
He was really good before the World Cup, and then after the World Cup, even before the injury, I don't think he wasn't bad, but he was just like a little bit kind of. And then as soon as he came out for the injury, he just was bad. I'd make a case that Fred was better. Like there were times when I was like, Fred was actually better than Eriksen, because I was like, Eriksen isn't doing anything. Like he's not like before. Like he was at least going forward and maybe creating. You know, so defensively he was never great going back, etc. But he was creating. He was his passing movement, all the rest of it. You know, was good. You know, but when he came back, like he didn't offer anything. I don't remember him registering many assists. You know, creating chances, like nothing. You know, like. And he didn't have legs to track back at all. So he just, after the injury for me, I didn't know what Christian Eriksen was really giving to the team, really.
Yeah, I would say as well, even when he was like having a good vein of form in that first half of the season, there were certain games where you would see, and well, for me anyway, I would question, why is someone who's had a legacy as an attacking midfielder is being played holding midfield?
Yes.
We've not seen him do that for Spurs ever. When he was at Inter, I'm pretty sure he didn't play there. I don't know if he did at Ajax, but it's like when he's older, it's like you're gonna need legs for that midfield engine. And I was just thinking there was some games where Casemiro would have to do double the work, basically. But then again, there was certain games where you saw, okay, Eriksen's got some good playmaking here. You know, you can see that little good control of the ball, knowing when to pass. And then second half of the season, that injury messed him up, and I think it messed up his passing too, because sometimes I think it was actually Bruno that was playing. Sometimes some of the passing he was doing. I'm saying average as well.
Fair, right? Okay. I mean, John just says the fact that he died, came back to life. Sam United won trophies before Spurs. I mean, that is wild. That statement is wild.
I've seen that statement before, but it is so true. It is true. I mean, the fact that he died, come back to life. Tottenham have demolished the old stadium, built a new one, and he's won a trophy before Spurs.
That's wild.
Are we gonna have to upgrade Eriksen then? Because that is a top comment, man. I like that.
It is. Eriksen into good for that comment alone, man.
Yeah.
I might just put him into good because that is actually wild. If you think about it like that's actually
if you think about it like that, then
that's crazy. That's crazy. Tellez is an NA, to be honest, because like he was obviously on loan. On NA for Dean Henderson. Marcus Rashford. This is one that's gonna be interesting.
AKA Rashbappe.
AKA Rafi, AKA signing a new contract. Marcus Rashford, man.
I don't think there's need to be much discussion, really. I think it's just straight excellent because, I mean, without Rashford,
I'm voting for a new section on top of excellent. Superb.
Really? Really?
yeah.
Yes. Come
Really?
on. Record number of goals. Come on. Was it 31 goals? Something like that? Like, come on. And after the last season where I was ready to just get rid of him for maybe even for free. I was like, get out of it. Your attitude stinks. The way you turned it around, man. Come on.
Yeah.
He's turned
And especially after the World Cup as well. I mean, he came back from that World Cup with a vengeance, and he went on a absolute storm after the World Cup. There was just no stopping him. It was like every single time, even when I wasn't watching the games live, and I'd be waiting for notifications to come through on my phone, I could guarantee that the first notification I'd get is Rashford scored. Straight away. Every single game, it was just bang, Rashford.
I can give you guys above average, but like
What?
I can give you guys.
No.
I can't give you excellent.
One more before.
No, it's got to be excellent.
I gotta say, guys, we gotta remember he came back from the injury of having floating bones in his back or his foot or whatever. Ole burned him out, and this guy did well to get his fitness back.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm not saying like that. But okay, above average is still really good, guys. Above average is really good. It's just not. It's just, I think the thing for me, I mean, maybe this is where we could have done an excellent, is that like, you know, I agree in the sense that if it wasn't, Rashford was basically essentially our most consistent goal scorer this season. You know,
he's scoring headers. He never scores headers.
Exactly. Yeah. So I see that argument, because at the end of the day, there was no other player that consistently delivered goals. None of our forwards, no attackers, even Ronaldo. Then Marcus Rashford. So I agree with that. The reason why I'm reluctant to give excellence to Marcus Rashford is because yes, he scored. I don't know how many goals he scored in the Premier League in total. Was it
20? 17.
17. 17. So the reason why it was excellence is I still think that Rashford is still doing things as part of his game that I still think that are still annoying and are still quite frustrating. And the biggest one for me is that he's still incredibly selfish. And there are a lot of games I have in a season where I was like, right, whether in cup competitions, in the league competitions, where like Rashford, like, you just have to square the ball here. You just have to pass the ball here. And this is easy. This is done. We get the win. We get the 3 points, etc. Yes, goal scoring is part of the game, but Rashford isn't. If this was Haaland or another tax agreement, I'd be agreeing with you. But for me, Rashford is still, for all intents and purposes, like he's an inside forward, winger, whatever it is. There's an element to his game that I still need to see, which is his ability to create for other people and his ability to not be inherently selfish. Because there are times in the games where I felt it actually cost us because he didn't make the right decision. So
it's a great point. It's a great point. But come on,
yeah,
he got his record number of goals in his career. Come on,
but 70. But it's something. But it's still 70. It's still 17 in one season. Like it's not nothing. It's not record, but it's not like he broke the 20 barrier. It's not like he It's not like he. And again, I'm not saying I'm giving him above average. I'm giving him above average, but I just think of excellent. I feel of excellent. You have to like at least.
Well, this is a season review, right? So we've got to count the 31 goals. Yeah, count every.
Yeah. I know. And that's what I'm leaning towards you guys, because at the end of the day, if it wasn't for Rashford, I don't know where our goals come from. So I'm leaning towards giving him excellent. My only thing about it is that like there's still a lot of Rashford's game to me that was still quite frustrating. That if it wasn't for the fact that like we heavily rely, like essentially almost what I'm saying is that like, and especially towards the end of the season where I felt that probably the last third of the season, like I felt his goals did dry up. He did seem to go missing in the tail end of the season, and I've always said something like that. You need your players to step up. Your most important players to step up. The time to step up. It's not in the first 10 games or 15 even. It's the last 10 games of the season. That's when I need you to step up. That's where I need you to step up against Sevilla. That's where I need you to step up against City. That's where I need you to step up in the last couple of games to make sure you secure. It's important.
I think that's when we need other players to come in and help. Like Weghorst. Come on, man. There got to be other players helping.
Well, of course, that's why I'm going to be talking. Like a lot of those other players, I'm going to put those other players. If you think I'm putting Marcus Rashford in above average, there's certain players, and there's certainly one that you're going to be surprised. But I don't know if you'd be surprised by, but like he's definitely going in there.
But by the way, RDS, Mo in the chat saying 11 assists too. So he did have some. He did give some service. Wasn't completely selfish.
Okay, if he did what you say, if he did what you say, he'd be missing. No. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I'm expecting Rashford to be Messi. It's just at times, I just feel like he can still be quite frustrating to watch. But I will put him in excellent for the shit.
Yes.
Come on,
if we didn't have him, I don't know where the other goal scorer for United would come from, to be quite frank. So for that alone, for that dependence, I'll put him in excellent. Even though I would say here, but another guy, Raphael Varane. Where did Raphael Varane? I mean, Mega disagrees with us. Says he's stat padded in the Europa League. I know Mega has a Rashford. Isn't a fan of Rashford. So, but yeah, Raphael Varane, guys, what do you think?
Ooh. What did we say for Martinez again? We said excellent, didn't we? Or did we say?
Yeah.
I would put him on. I don't. Now you know what? I need a little bit of time to think on this because I thought he was on the same level as Martinez. Actually, I'm trying to think of games because they're a great partnership as well. That's the thing. Like Varane really helped Martinez, didn't he?
There was a great partnership, but I don't feel like he had an excellent season. Can I justify him having an above average season?
Yep, I can justify that.
I mean, if you can justify it, then it might change my mind because at the moment I'm leaning towards more good season than above average. So if you're able to convince me, then I might change my mind on it. But at the moment, I'm leaning more towards good.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Can I give an above average thing for Varane? Yes, I can. I would say because I think that we've gotten used to. I know, I went on the rant about like the 7 goals you conceded against, but the biggest thing I think, and obviously because Varane has played for most of the season, to be fair, he has, and you got to factor in that Varane has been part of that, a mainstay of that back two. And bearing in mind, like one thing that surprised me, obviously, one, the fact that David De Gea got the most clean sheets, but two, if you actually look at the goals that we conceded, we actually, I think, were third or fourth for the total amount of goals conceded in the league, and that includes, I think, it might be third or fourth, or behind City. And actually, no, let me get the table up. Give me 2 seconds. I'm fairly sure it's. Let me give me 2 seconds, guys.
Wait, are you saying 4th best defense or
3rd best defense? Premier League table.
I thought we were quite bad because of the capitulation results, but I'm surprised at that.
Yeah. So we had the joint 3rd best defense with Arsenal. So it was ironic. Well, it depends on your interpreter because Newcastle and City both conceded only 33 goals. So they had the joint first. And then second would be United and Arsenal with 43 goals. And that's bearing in mind 6-0, 6-3, 7-0, 4 to Brentford, etc. And all the goals were Kingdom Goals. And yet still, with those demolitions, we still managed to have the third, let's say third for simplicity, best defensive record in the league over a 38-game season. Now that has that has to come from your defense. And obviously Lizandra was part of it as well, but obviously he was injured for the last let's say a quarter of the season. But Varane was part of that as well, you know. So I think based on that alone, you've got to put Varane at least an above average.
I agree with that because I'm just remembering like there's certain games where like obviously Martinez can't just defend by himself. Like I remember like when Martinez would get caught out, Varane with his recovery pace would come over and help Martinez with like certain challenges or just clearing the ball. So for me, yeah, I don't think Martinez has that excellent season without Varane's help. So yeah, I'd go above average.
I mean, I'll hold my hand. I did say if you're able to convince me that he had an above average season, I'll go with it. And you did convince me that he's had an above average season, so I'll go with above average. You convinced me.
Let's put him there. Let's put him there. Well on Varane. Now the controversial one. David De Gea. I mean, versus was it? Sorry, David De Gea used to be a goofy, ain't now, and also making most errors, good defense and DM.
I'm just going to put it now. Excellent. Now I know that's going to be a controversial place for him, but yes, I know he had. I know he had some sloppy games. Not mentioning those games, but we know which ones they are. However, if you forget about those sloppy games and balls trickling in on a whim, forget about them. He was our best goalkeeper that I've seen since Van der Sar. Well, he's been the only goalkeeper since Van der Sar.
You talking about overall, or you talking about
this
season?
No, overall.
Okay, I agree with that, but we're talking about this season, right? So, you know, most errors, that's a big tax on them being excellent, bro. Come on.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if we're going off errors, then realistically, no one deserves to be an excellent. Because all the United players have made errors.
That's true, but like errors leading.
So if we're going off errors, then realistically we should be moving Varane. We should be removing anyone from excellent and moving him down to above average.
Well, it's errors leading to goals, though. That's the big thing for the keeper. Like last line of defense, he made 5 errors. Like, and we're forgetting that De Gea wasn't doing the good distribution that we need to see. A lot of times, when he would make like these, you know, match-saving saves, he'd be giving the ball away to the opposition. Like, I never noticed this until like you know, Rants. Rants is very negative. I'm sure everyone's seen him online, but if you do see a lot of his play out from the back, it's not great, and it initiates the attack from the other team. So for me, it's like it's such a mind fuck that he's got the Golden Gloves as well. It's like, how can you have most errors and then Golden Gloves, most clean sheets? But then we have talked about defenders saving them a bit. Oh, I don't want to be too harsh, man, but you know what? I'm gonna have to go average. You know, no, but the errors. My head's all over the place.
What does the community think? We're gonna give this to the community. What does the community think about David De Gea? Where do you? Because I don't think we're gonna agree about David De Gea on this.
That's a hard one.
In fact, what I'll do is I'll put it in a poll.
Actually, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna change from excellent. So it's just dawned on me now that the fact that we got to a penalty shootout in the semi-final against Brighton, and out of 13 penalties that Brighton took, he didn't save a single one. So actually, I'm going to change mine. I'm going to change mine to good. I'm going to drop him down because I'm sorry, 13 shots, 13 penalties, and he didn't save a single one of them.
To be fair, their keeper didn't save one either, and like he's like I don't think either. Like
Who was that? Was that Steele? That's his name, isn't it? Like he's not supposed to be good though, is he? Really, compared to De Gea.
Well, even still, like I felt in fairness to De Gea, then I actually criticized him more for the Sevilla one. The Sevilla one, I was like, that this is a joke. But that I watched the penalty shooter, and I remember all the penalties being really good. Like sometimes, like what penalty shooter was it recently? I can't remember. Was one where like I think it was one of the playoffs, and I was like, these penalties are just good. Like sometimes people just take good penalties, and they're just like, there's just nothing that you can do about it as a keeper. You know, like it's just really good penalties. There's nothing you can do. So that penalty shoot, I remember thinking like, yeah, no, look, most of these are just too good.
But the thing is, when you got every single Brighton player's penalties on your water bottle, and you're still not able to save them, for someone like David De Gea, that's a big thing, really.
How is Martinez excellent, but Varane above average? I mean, for the reasons, in part because you could. I guess what my the justification is because this is Martinez's first season.
This is my friend in the chat. Yeah, that's actually I think that's a genuine point because he's a big fan of Varane. For me, the context is like I said earlier. It's Martinez's debut season. He had all the criticism, like the magnifying glass on his height. Like I'm a small man as well, yeah, and I've had flack for my height, yeah. And when people have put pressure on me to do things that are physical, I felt pressure because I'm small. And he's in front of billions of people performing at one of the worst clubs for pressure. So for me, that for him to have this amazing season, yeah, or this season when he's shown that he's proven, you know, there's certain players that take a few seasons to adapt to this league, to even just adapt to the culture. So for me, it's gotta be excellent, man, on that context.
Yep, I agree. I agree personally. I mean, David De Gea, like, where's the David De Gea? Let's see. Is there any? What are people saying about David De Gea? Let us know. What are you guys saying about David De Gea in the chat? I know Mega is a hater, but it's just as poor. So, but I think
I've got a problem. Sorry, I got a problem with giving a keeper poor when he's got golden gloves there. I just it doesn't sound right. It's like
that's the thing.
I'm gonna say average. Yeah, that's my rating.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I see what. I would.
He did make some good saves, isn't it? He did make some good saves.
I would say average as well because, like you said, you're right. He's got the golden glove, and at the end of the day, like it's like, yeah. I've seen worse seasons from De Gea. Let's put it that way. Recently, so are we able to agree on average, Phoenix? Are you able to give us that?
I'll give average. I can live with average.
Okay. And Mecca said, RDS, I'm the biggest David De Gea fan, Lolo. Yeah, of course you are, Mecca. Of course you are. I won't Declan Rice at Manchester United. And well, he's Declan Rice, unfortunately, is not coming to Manchester United. I can tell you that right now, and I'm not a transfer guru. He's either going to Manchester City or Arsenal. End of discussion. It is what it is. Don't get your hopes about Declan Rice or anything like that. It's just not happening. So let's put De Gea in average. Brandon Williams is NA. Really, he's not really been involved. That's Elanga, man. I mean, Elanga goes from like Elanga wasn't really a thing, really, was he? Like,
I can't remember what he's
I can't remember. I don't honestly. I can't remember seeing him play really, so I can't really comment on him.
Yeah. I think you put Elanga in NA, unfortunately.
Yeah, NA definitely.
Now, my most favorite and arguably player of the season, in my personal opinion, and I'm shameless. I'll give it to him. I don't care. I'll give it to him. Casemiro, man, is my player of the season, man. He is my player of the season. He was the DM that we needed. His mentality, and I think the biggest thing about Casemiro playing Manchester United this season is that I didn't, because obviously he was playing with Kroos and Modric, and his job was mostly defensive. That's what I'm going to do: defend, protect by four, etc. But I didn't realize how good on the ball he was. Like, I knew he was good, but like he's really good. His passing ability is good. The fact that the amount of goals that he scored for us, clutch goals. I mean, that last goal that he scored against, was it the Bournemouth, the back heel or something? I was like,
the overhead kick.
The overhead kick, yeah, that was against Bournemouth. I think it was, yeah. It was like,
that was ridiculous, man. That's
Casemiro can do that. As a striker, sort of. Nah, for me, I don't know if there's any debate. Like, excellent, and I'd argue he's player of the season in my opinion. But I don't know what you guys think.
I say excellent, but my player of the season is Rash Bappe, aka Rashford. Like, I fought for him hard early on, but yeah, Casemiro. I wish there was two of them in the midfield. Obviously, that can't happen, but yeah, I just mirror your points. Like, the fact that he can actually play on the ball and destroy the opposition's play. It's like, I wish he was like younger, because obviously he's getting towards the latter stage of his career. But yeah, his impact, it's been immense. It's been immense. Yeah, definitely agree with excellent.
What do you think, Phoenix?
I mean, everything's already been said that I was going to say, so I'm just going to jump straight to it and say, yeah, I completely agree. Excellent. He's had an excellent season.
Right. Let me and we'll talk about what guys being a player of the season is. But like I said, for me, he's player of the season. Like, for me, like I don't know what Manchester United would have been. I mean, like, I agree that like Rashford was the main goal scorer for United, but like I shudder to think what United would have been if we didn't have Casemiro. If we didn't sign Casemiro, we didn't sign a midfielder. I generally don't know where United would have been. I think we would be potentially where Chelsea were.
12th place with McFred. That would have been the case.
Possibly.
Oh God, that name, McFred.
Possibly.
Oh, it haunts my dreams.
Yeah, PTSD. I can't wait. At least McTominay goes. He's been transfer listed as a. Oh, has he? Yeah, yes. McTominay.
I think the rumors has been transfer listed, but whether anyone will pay for him, I mean, maybe Newcastle might. I don't know. So, right, another guy that's going to give us some contention, Anthony. Anthony. Obviously, first season for him as well. I mean, okay, so I'm going to give a defense to Anthony. And my defense for Anthony is that, like, he actually has more goals and assists than Grealish had in his debut season. Yeah, no one was on Grealish's back. And in fairness, Grealish second season, which is this season, he actually had a very good season this season. So there are obviously things that frustrate me about Anthony, in particular of how one-footed he is, his decision-making, etc. But are we being a little bit too harsh on Anthony, given how so many other wings and players like that sign didn't actually perform that well? In fact, I'm trying to think of any wingers or inside forwards in the Premier League that were transferred that actually did well in their debut season. As in this season, I can't think of any. Compared to Anthony, I can't think of any that come to my mind. I mean, does Gabriel Jesus count? I don't know.
Nah, he's a forward.
No, he's more of a forward, is he? So yeah, I'm not saying I would put him on in good, in just good. Just given that it's his first season, like he got a decent amount of goals and assists, and I still see the potential in him that he can take a step further. But I don't know what people think.
I mean, I was thinking above average, really.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought I was being harsh there. I thought some people were going to say average, but yeah. So go on, Phoenix.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head with him. it's his first season, and his goal rate and assist rate was brilliant. I wouldn't say it was on. I wouldn't say it was the same. I wouldn't say he had a season like Martinez and all that, but he had a pretty good season. So I'd say above average, really.
What do you think, Eddie?
I've just been like actually making some notes because this guy, he's been for me, he's burned hot and cold so many times. Like I'm just gonna start off on like positives because like I don't forget like those big goals he got, like the one against Barcelona when he cut in.
Yeah, that was a beautiful
corner. That was awesome. Like doing that under pressure, that was a good one. There's other ones where he scored like his cut-in shot, where he tries to be like Robben, tries to put it in the top corner. I think when it comes off, it looks amazing. He's got a couple like that. I remember the one against Man City, which obviously didn't really mean much, but that was an amazing goal as well. But it's like he has to get the balance of knowing when to shoot and then knowing when to pass. For me, I think you should be able to have that decision making. Like as a player that is gifted, like Ten Hag, wanted to stay on this player even after it went from the 50 million valuation to 85 mil. Ten Hag still believed he could come and perform under pressure. For me, I want to see some more dribbling. Maybe we'll see it in the next season, but we're talking about this season. So not enough dribbling. In terms of tenacity and just getting stuck in, yes, that it was like 10 out of 10 for that. He was showing up the likes of Sancho. So I like that warrior in him. Like he's got that dog in him, So I like that kind of battling mentality. But yeah, it comes down to it's like the point you were making with Rashford. He's got to know when to give the ball to the forward. He's got to know when to do that. So that's the deal breaker for me. So overall, I'll say my rating is it's going to be average. It's going to be average.
I mean, your friend Ivashka says, Anthony Paul, stop smoking, please, RDS. He's
trolling there.
You just a lot.
You might have to put him on a sin bin,
A lot. I mean, I'm happy to go either way. I mean, I think because Phoenix, did you say above average?
Yeah.
And then I said good, and then Eddie, you said average. So I guess we should go in the middle of us three and put him in good then, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy with that.
Is that fair?
Okay.
Eddie's like,
I don't want to be too negative, but if it averages out to good, then that's fair, isn't it? Oh yeah. By the way, RDS, Ivashka is actually Josh. I don't know if you remember when you were on my channel ages ago. When we did the preview to Barcelona versus Man United.
Oh yes, yeah.
That's him. So he's just trolling.
I mean, for me personally, like I know we're judging the season, but there's always a part of me that gives a and also it's one of the things what Ericsson says, like when it's their first season and I've seen something from you. And Manchester United, I think I don't want them to be too harsh on that person. Second season is different. First season is such, but for your first season, so when there's something good that's there, as an encouragement, I don't like to be too harsh on. So this season I've not been harsh on Casemiro, on Ericsson, on Malassi, on anyone else the first season because I know that you need time to adapt into a new system, a new team. And if you can adapt, fine, like Casemiro and Lisandro did, awesome. For others, like we saw with Grealish, for example, Man City, I was like, oh, Grealish is crap. Grealish is useless. Grealish can't do anything. And then second season, the guy starts the ball, So
I've got to say with Grealish, though, man, like it just seemed like it was a passenger for this treble, though. Like, and you did put up some good goals and assists at certain times, like, especially since the World Cup. But like, come on, man, there's a lot of games where you just seem to just cut inside, just pass it. That's him. Cut inside, just pass it. So, yeah. I think Anthony's got to do better than that for his second season.
Yeah,
to be honest.
no, I agree. If he plays like this season, it could potentially be here. But for his first season, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Right now, the youngster that sort of broke out this season. In fact, I'm going to put a lot of these guys in NA because we didn't really see a lot of them. So, but the youngster that did break out this season, Garnacho, man. Garnacho. I obviously had that injury because of a Bryce thing, but like, what are we saying? What are we saying about Garnacho, guys? What are we saying about Garnacho?
I mean, for me, I'm just trying to assess the amount of games, man. I mean, I love some of them clutch goals he was getting. I remember, I mean, even the debut goal against Real Sociedad, that was awesome. And then the late winner against Fulham, and then a big one which like made me celebrate like a child was when he got the winner against West Ham in the I think the quarterfinal in the FA Cup. I think it was. That was a great goal. I did a watch along for that as well. So that was a great feeling. Do you
remember the goal he scored like literally before the World Cup? When like, let's just finish the World Cup. Before the World Cup, the break for the season before the World Cup, we're playing away to Fulham.
Yeah,
and it was 1-1, and it was just like, please, let's just have a good end of the World Cup and he scores the second goal to win and carry it. That was a nice feeling, man.
Exactly. So he's been clutch. So my rating, I mean, there's other games as well where he's looked good. He came on against Leeds. Remember when we were trying to come back?
That's the only reason why I might put him in either good. I don't want to be good or above average because, like, for me, unlike say, I don't know Greenwood, but it is what it is with him. I still feel with Garnacho that he's still a off the bench player. Yeah. He's not done enough for me where he's like, right, he can stake his claim into the starting 11, and I know I can trust to start this guy. It's more like he's a good bench option, So he's basically he's been a good squad player, but I don't think he's done enough to really kind of force himself into that starting 11 position.
I mean, I think a good game for Garnacho to potentially start next season will be against Luton. Luton or Sheffield. One of them two for him to start. A team that's just newly promoted, get him out in the starting 11 and see how he does. He may flourish, he may not. But the only way Ten Hag is going to know whether he's going to flourish or not is by putting him in a game like that. But for me, I agree. I'm leaning towards more good.
Yeah, good.
Than above average.
Yeah. I was going to say good as well. Yeah, because the fact that he can't really start games and do the same thing that's a big tax on his rating for me. So good.
Let's put him in good, but we can hopefully he'll improve. It's the most important thing. He's got potential there, so hopefully he can improve. Now, can you judge Pellistri? Because we only saw Pellistri once or twice. Can you judge? Obviously, I put Ahmad in the NA because he was on loan to Sunderland. So you can't really judge him seeing at Manchester United, but I do hope that we see more of Ahmad this season because he did ball for Sunderland. But can you judge Pellistri?
No, so I don't think I watched the 1 or 2 games that he was in. So for me, I couldn't give a fair judgment on his season really. So I didn't really watch him.
Yeah, I did manage to catch like some of these substitute cameos, and for me, I got a taste of like the kind of player that he is, and I've been rooting for him to be like playing more games because for me, I think he's got the experience that from playing in the World Cup. Okay, albeit he didn't play too many games, he was there with that national team. He got the atmosphere. I think he made some appearances. He's been on loan to Real Sociedad and somewhere else. So I was thinking, you should be playing more games. And then when we did see him,
international. He's all people forget. He's an international of Uruguay, but
yeah, exactly. So and then I was saying that when I did see him, he looks like he's that kind of direct winger. He wants to stretch the defense. That means take the fullback to the touchline and like go past them, get a crossing for the forward. That's what we criticize Rashford and Anthony for, not getting across to the forward.
Exactly.
So, yeah. For me, because we didn't see enough of them, I think it's just gonna have to be average, in my opinion.
Fine. Okay. So we will. So average. Do we have enough? Let me know what you guys think in the chat. Do you think we have enough to judge Palestri and put him in, say, an average, or do you think we can't and put him in NA? Let us know in the chat, and then we'll decide. Bruno Fernandes, guys, the captain technically, because Maguire was barely playing for a lot of the season. I'll put him in the next. We've not seen him enough. Bruno Fernandes, guys, what do you think, Bruno?
This is a hard one for me. Big up Rajat. It's a hard one for me because like he's shown some good versatility, I would say, or maybe average. Because maybe it's average because there were times where he was put on the wing. I don't think we've seen enough impact, but he did have energy, right? He did have energy. He's got. That's the thing. The big thing about Bruno Fernandes for me is his fitness to keep running and to keep running. Yeah, it's like like what they said back in the old day, an energizer bunny. Like you just keep going. Rarely gets injured. I mean, it's been a kind of a pressured season as well. Him taking on the captaincy armbands from a joke of a captain. So gotta give him props for that. He's not gotten like the goals and assist return though, like he did before. But the system's changed, so you're not going to do that. For me, I don't think he's been like technically sound enough to run a game, and that's not even his game really. He's more of a transitional player, isn't he? Like more of a counter attacker.
Yeah.
Do the long ball in behind. He needs work on like building up with 1-2s and stuff like that. I'll have to go. I might be wrong though, because there's certain things he might have been doing as well. But I'd go average.
Ooh,
yeah.
Interesting, because I mean, Mo says excellent, but not quite. Phoenix, what do you think?
I mean, I was swinging towards above average, but after what's just been said, I'm now doubting myself, and I'm like, was it actually a good season? Maybe average. Like I'm now questioning my thoughts really, because what you said actually makes sense. But if I had to say, I'd probably put him in good. I wouldn't say it was an average season. But I'd definitely say it was a good season for him.
Yeah, I think I can see that. I think that like Bruno is a tricky enigma because I do think that we can get better from Bruno in number 8 position. I think we can, and I think that definitely Bruno for me is a player that like can alternate between being a squad player and being a starting 11 player, just depending on how he performs. And I don't know whether again because of Casemiro in the midfield, I think probably he had a better season than he had this season. But at the same time, your number 8 is supposed to actually, to be honest, I don't want to say it because he did create quite a few chances, quite important chances, but no, did he do enough of that? I'm not entirely sure.
That's something I missed out real quickly, is that he did create a lot of those chances, but were they quality chances? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Were they clear-cut chances, as they say in certain stats?
I think he definitely sets the bar high for himself. I think as one of the commentators said. So, but I also think that I would, if it was me, I'd probably, and again, maybe it's because like I'm trying to be reasonable. I would probably put him in good, I guess, only because there's certain players that are coming now that will be coming soon that I'll begin to eviscerate. So good. But if you guys say average, I don't mind that. I mind that either. Like I'm in either or, in my personal opinion.
I think it's both of you are saying good, aren't you? I'm the only one that said average. Looks like he's getting a good season.
Okay, and again, let us know in the comments as well what you think. So let's put Bruno here. Is that Phil Jones, man? Is that Phil Jones? Is that Phil Jones? If there's another
I think so.
there's another category for not NA, then I put him in there, but there isn't. But he's being released anyway, so it's fine. So yeah, NA as well. Wout Weghorst. Wout Weghorst, man. Okay, I'm gonna put him there. I mean, and the thing is, I like the guy. I like the guy. I do. I like him. You know, he's cool. He seems like a good bloke, but he was bad. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I would have rather, if Ronaldo was happy to stay, I'd have had 37-year-old Ronaldo in that number 9 position over Wout Weghorst. I don't care what anyone else says.
Yeah.
Just like, if he was happy to stay, it would, you know, it would have been fine. Like, it just he was.
So I was just gonna say, once you go and talk to Piers Morgan, there's no way back.
No, there's no way back. There's no way back. But man, still, I was like, and I think the thing is, I always knew he wasn't going to be great, but when I saw him in the World Cup, when he dunked on Messi's Argentina and scored that brace, I was like, okay, maybe we might get something from this dude. Maybe we might get something from this guy, because he came up. He rescued his country to take them to penalties against Argentina, like two header, and then I think as part of a set piece. Like, bro, fair enough. You know, a brace in a quarter. I think it was the quarterfinal, wasn't it, or round of 16?
One of the two.
It was one. I think it was round. It was quarterfinal. Yes, it was quarterfinal. You know, it's like, geez, fair enough. And we just didn't see that from Wout Weghorst at all at Manchester United. Like, that just wasn't what we got. Like, it just wasn't. So, I mean, I don't know what anyone else thinks, but like, yeah, Wout.
After the season he's had for Man United, I forgot that he was clutch at a World Cup. Like, under those kind of circumstances where it's like pressure to even save your team, I completely forgot. Yeah. Like, if there was maybe a section on this screen for like maybe banter, he'd probably go in there, because I think his goal scoring record was it 2 goals in about 28 appearances? It's something ridiculous where it's like he could be a contestant for maybe the worst forward that we've signed.
Big T stop. This is the problem with stats. Okay, yes, but at the end of the day,
like, Gary Neville in the chat.
The point of the chat, okay, is to score goals, and I don't think he was here for us for at least half of a season. He didn't score a league goal. Man. Like, he was here for I don't care how much better we were. Like, he was here for at least half of a season, and he didn't score a Premier League goal while he was here. Nah, sorry, it's poor. That's poor. I'm sorry.
I think he got one though. I think he got one.
No, he didn't. He got one goal in the cup. I think it was FA Cup. I think.
Oh,
FA Cup.
I remember he scored against Nottingham Forest. Like, he got a rebound. Was that a cup?
Yeah, did we play Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup? We might have.
We played them in one cup. It might have been Carabao. Anyway, okay, so no Premier League goals. I thought he at least got one. But Big T in the chat, he's been on my streams before, and the amount of times he's tried to make a case for Weghorst, it's like, I don't know if that's Weghorst's brother or whatever, but it's like he's let you down, Big T. He let you down.
He was the conductor that enabled us to score. That's a very interesting take.
He's a pressing merchant. But I'll give Weghorst one good accolade, yeah, and that is in the FA Cup semi-final when we played against Brighton. I'm sure you guys will remember when it was just before Solly March missed his pen. Yeah, Weghorst cursed the ball with that kiss of death.
He did.
So, you know what I mean? He's got some kind of powers. It's a pity that it's not like, you know, consistently putting the ball in the back of the net.
He did.
But yeah, Poor, you can't argue with poor. Come on.
Right. Almost there, because I know we're going to round things up almost to just an hour and a half, so we're trying to speed things up. So another guy is interesting, Diego Dallo. Diego Dallo is a very interesting one because Dallo, for me, started the season well under Ten Hag and was clearly Ten Hag's first choice. And then for whatever reason, after the World Cup, Wan-Bissaka, and the thing is, I don't think Wan-Bissaka was actually bad before the World Cup. I just think that Dallo was the preference. Dallo was doing well, and there's no reason to take Dallo out. But as soon as he came back from the World Cup, Wan-Bissaka, is just ahead of him. And I know he's got the new contract, but I know a lot of people are like, why isn't Wan-Bissaka getting a new contract? And even Wan-Bissaka's ability going forward, in my opinion, has gotten better. So it's like, and to be honest, this season anyway, I've not seen a massive difference between Wan-Bissaka and Dallo's ability going forward. Like before, Dallo's really good going forward, but this season, there's not that. It's not like Dallo was getting multiple assists, crosses, and bombing and like that. No, I don't see there's that much of a difference. But Wan-Bissaka is still defensively superior to Dallo. It's not even a contest. There's no debate about that. Wan-Bissaka is just the better defender. You know
what, RDS? I'll say real quickly, it's a myth that Dallo is better going forward. I think what we see is when Wan-Bissaka is trying to go forward, he just looks really awkward. He gets some stuff done, because I remember he's dribbled forward sometimes, especially against Man City, games like that. But it's he just looks like it's a very hard effort for him to actually do it. His technique is off. That's the only thing.
Phoenix, I don't know what you think.
No, excuse me. No, I completely agree. I've lost my train of thought there. I agree with everything that you said there completely. My brain's just gone fuzzy there. I did have something to say, but I've had a complete mind blank.
It's okay, mate. It's okay.
What's your rating, though?
Where would you put him, though? I put him in average. I think I've got to say
that's what I was thinking. Average. I don't think it's not good enough for good. I'd definitely say average, though.
You can't be saying that you're putting a good season when you're finishing the season as a second choice right back.
Yeah.
That for me, you can't.
You can't be.
You can't be a season, Even though, yes, I admit what we did at the beginning of the season, but then you can make the argument that we were actually better, or we got better towards the end in terms of the second half of the season than the first. I don't know. I mean,
I've got to make a case. I've got to make a case for my boy, man. I mean, he was one of my favorites. Obviously, not last season, but for the first season under Ole. But when we were just focused on his game, which was defense. For me, I've got to say, for this season, for me, he's got to be good, because his confidence had to be in the bin. I think mentally he was worse off than Rashford, and I made the case for him being coming back from the dead. Wan-Bissaka, everyone was saying he can't play football, all of this kind of stuff. People were not believing that he used to be a winger. It was that bad. People wanted him just out of the team. And I remember one joke was made about him saying he looks like a fish riding a bike when he's trying to dribble. Can you imagine hearing that kind of thing as a footballer? That's major trolling. So for me, to make the comeback and actually improve going forward too, I say it's got to be good in my opinion, because of the mental comeback as well.
Yeah. Well, again, chat, what do you think? I mean, Mo says Dallo was average, and Wan-Bissaka is good. That's what I would. That was what I would rate. That's what I would rate.
Come on, chat, back me.
That's the rate.
Wan-Bissaka to good.
So let everyone. What else? Do people think Dallo average? Let us know in the chat, and then we'll move. But as it stands now, I think that Dallo's going the average bar. But let me know what you guys think in the chat. Because he said Dallo played better at left back than he did. That's another point as well. You could argue. You know, like he was a good substitute in at left back actually. I don't know. We'll come back. We'll come up to him. But let me know what you think in the chat. Scott McTominay. It's got to be poor though, isn't it? Because like, what did he really do this season?
I cannot sit here and say that he's had an average season. I can't. As much as I want to, I'm sorry. He's had a better season playing for Scotland than he has actually for United.
Exactly.
So on that basis alone, I'm sorry, but he's had a poor season at United. He's had a tremendous spell with Scotland, but when it comes to United, he's been absolutely diabolical. How he's still managed to get a starting position in the Scottish team, I don't know. Because
are you saying he's like the Maguire of Scotland, basically?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Wow. You know what? Yeah, mate. I've got to make a little bit of a case for McTominay. I don't want McTominay here, yeah. But remember, I think of maybe the first 10 games. Yeah, I'm not saying that's like a great sample, but remember when he was playing next to Eriksen in the midfield, as the two, they were the two holding midfielders, and I remember he was keeping out Casemiro for how many games? It was a couple of games. I remember when Casemiro first came, I was like, get Casemiro straight in there. When McTominay played a couple of good games, and then the Man City debacle happened where we lost 6-3, and he was thrown right out of there, and he didn't show up again. So,
was he? What was the midfield against Brentford? Did Casemiro come in at that point as well?
I don't think so. I think that was early. That was too early.
Okay, he's going in poor.
Yeah, I'm not arguing against poor, but I wanted to give some good points for him at least.
Sorry, McTominay. Sorry. There's a lot of started so well to keep Casemiro on the bench for a few games slow.
Yeah, exactly.
Bruno still needs to do well against big sides away from home. He goes to Anfield, Etihad, to James Park, and Emirates. He also needs to have great discipline. I agree, RS3. I agree. We need more from. We need to still see more from Bruno. To be honest, it will be interesting if United actually get Mason Mount. I don't want him, but Mason Mount is a number 8, so I don't really know where that fits Bruno. Do you play Bruno alongside Casemiro in the whole? Maybe that's what Ten Hag wants to do. I don't know, but if you're gonna play, you can't play for me Mount and Bruno together unless you're gonna play Bruno as a holding midfield alongside Casemiro, which he did do a few times for Manchester United this season, but. You essentially can't play 2 8s. So either you're replacing Bruno with Mount, or Bruno has to be deeper.
Yeah. Yes. Just on that point as well, I was gonna say, it would probably only work if we have a centre back come from the defense to help Casemiro. You know, like how Pep's done that whole 3-4-2-1. Push Stones into midfield. I think it would, if you push a Martinez to help Casemiro, because like you're saying, man, it's just gonna be Mount and Bruno are just gonna leave Casemiro at sea.
Mount is excellent, but the thing is, Eriksen plays quite deep for us. That's the thing. Mount doesn't play that deep for Chelsea. If Mount is gonna be like Eriksen, then we're taking a player and not using his best attributes. And Mount's best attribute is that he is an 8. That's his best. He's he's not he doesn't play. It doesn't play any deeper than that. And fair enough to me. He's actually good at pressing, pressing from the front. That's what Mount can do. But if you want him to play deeper than that, I just don't think that's. I just don't.
Yeah, if we do that, I might not be watching. I'm fed up of us just fitting square pegs and round holes, man. Exactly. It's just ridiculous.
Exactly. So you're either getting him to replace Bruno, or I don't know. Bruno's going to be told next season that he has to play deeper. but we can't play Mount Deeper like alongside Casemiro or whatever. That's just not it. Just like we're using Eriksen again to do the same thing. When Eriksen, to be honest, has spent most of his playing career playing like either as a wing or number 8. Like it just doesn't make sense. Wait, John Trey says Ten Hag wants to use 2-8 so we are quick in attack, counter-attack. I mean, maybe, but I don't really know how. I don't think we can play like. He's going to have to sign more players for us to be able to play like that.
I can't stomach counter-attack again, guys. Like, I don't know about you, but like watching Jose and Ole do it for that long. Oh, I know Ten Hag's a good coach and he adds a little bit of sprinkles of the high press, but it's like we're gonna do like mostly counter-attack. Nah, I can't handle it.
No,
it's so boring to watch. Like we don't control games. Like
exactly,
on,
which I'm tired of not being able to. You know, so so. Just shout out to those who are watching, by the way, for the transfer thing. So just so everyone knows, according to Fabrizio, Juventus are close to full agreement to extending Adrian Rabiot's contract. Just in case anyone actually thought United were going to get Rabiot. Anyway, moving on. So I've not said anything about Rabiot for that or any transfer for that reason because we're not linked or signed to anybody close aside from Mount.
Caicedo, that's what I say.
I would love us to get Caicedo, but Brighton won't sell him for any less than 80 or 90 million. I just don't think they'll have that cash.
Pay it. Put it on the credit card and get these new owners in.
Yeah, we should. So yeah, we'll put Dalot. So everyone's in Savage, so we'll put Dalot here. Luke Shaw, guys. Luke Shaw.
He's been short this season. Yeah, I've liked him. The fact that he could play, I didn't think he could play centre back.
Yes, you know? That's why part of me is like, do I put Luke Shaw in excellent or above average? Because you have to give him the props for the whole. Like, dude was a better centre back than Maguire.
Yeah.
Like, dude was a better centre back than Maguire, left-sided centre back, and it was really good. We're playing Luke Shaw with Varane, Luke Shaw with Lisandro Martinez. Like, he made Maguire 5th choice centre back.
Yeah,
he made Maguire 5th choice. Like, he was like, I mean, arguably, I make a case that, to be honest, like, I much rather prefer Luke Shaw as a left-sided centre back than actually as a fullback.
Yeah, I agree.
Fullback, but actually, I was like even in the final, I was like, oh, maybe in the final we could have played Luke Shaw left-sided as a centre back, and then just had Manasseh going for. Maybe we would have been, I don't know, So I'm not saying it would have. To be honest, I'm not sure it would have stopped the 2 goals because I don't think the 2 goals were that era's fault. I blame Eriksen for 1 or 2 of them, for both of them actually. Above average, I think for me would be for.
I agree with that for Luke Shaw. I completely agree.
What do you think, Eddie? You're holding your breath.
Yeah, I was just gonna say as well. Like we got to assess like how good he did at left back as well, because for me, I think there still is the question of his chance creation from that left. Unless I'm wrong, but I don't really remember him really being that kind of guy that sets the world alight with the getting the crosses in to the forwards and things like that. I think he's a little bit languid still with doing that. It's between good and above average, but I don't know. Just the player that centre back really surprised me. So yeah, fuck it, yeah, above average. Let's go.
Okay. That's why I think if he played left back, I would agree with you. But I just think the fact that like he was used predominantly. I mean, it's almost like, are we seeing for me, I don't actually see why Manchester United should be going out to getting as much as I would love Kim Min-jae, I don't really see a reason why Manchester United should be going out to get another centre back. You've got Lisandro, you've got Varane, keep Lindelof, I think is decent enough, and then you can play Luke Shaw as a left-sided centre back. If you want to get, and potentially you can, if you want, you can get a really, really good You can see maybe how Marcia development will come to him later, but yeah, I don't know. I just think that we don't need to. If we don't have a lot of money, we don't need to go and get another centre back when we've got Luke Shaw who can do a perfectly reasonable job there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's put Luke Shaw into the above average pile here. Now, arguably one of the, in my opinion, disappointments of the season, to the point where I'm like, I'm very tempted now that this guy should be sold. To be honest, I'm getting a bit tired. Jadon Sancho, man.
Oh, you're done.
You know, I would argue I'm close to being finished with this guy. I at best I might give him one more season, but if an offer comes in from a Spurs or other place and say, hey, you know what, we'll give you 50 million for him, I'd be like, yeah, sure, take it.
So that would be a loss of, is that 30 million or 20?
25.
Yeah.
25.
For this guy, is not even old yet as well. That's a bad loss of money.
I don't know. The thing is with Sancho, we don't know what happened. Like there was the whole thing of like him going away from the camp. He was not involved with the squad. He went away, I think, to Netherlands, and Ten Hag did some stuff with him. There's clearly some even issues that were going on that were probably happening last season as well that weren't shared, but clearly Ten Hag has inherited. So I don't think these are new issues. But I just don't know what's going on with this guy. I don't get how even at Dortmund, like he was balling, he was doing stuff, but he wanted to come back to England. So it's like he's just like I get people say about the system and about people having there, but it's not just that though. It's like it's mentality.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah.
Excuse. Yeah,
like fair enough. The ball playing, like I get that team, I get that, but like you can see certain players who's like this. The mentality. It's like you're not tracking back. You're not listening to instructions. You're not going forward, working hard. You're a passenger in games. Like it can't just all be we don't have the players, the system, blah blah blah. He's got like I'm tired of seeing players that have like that I know are talented, that have good technique, that don't apply themselves mentally. Like I don't like. That's why like, I'd even make a case where like I'd say that Sancho's season is arguably worse than the Weghorst. Because I know.
No, we're not. Come on,
no,
you can't do that, RDS. No, like, remember how he started off the season, bro? Like,
how did he start off the season?
Putting Van Dijk on the ground.
Yeah,
I remember when we beat them at home.
But that's what's so frustrating, though. That's the thing. It's like, so I know you have that talent, ability to do so. So why is it that for that I'll see you do that once, maybe twice in a couple of months, then for the rest of the time, like you do nothing. You frustrate me. Like at least with Weghorst, I'm like, this guy's crap. I don't expect anything from him. It is what it is. It's he's always there to press whatever. So I don't have any expectation from the dude. And also we just got him on loan and we need to replace him with a striker. So like it's not like it wasn't his fault. He took the opportunity, came to United, did what he did. You are a 75 million player who is on what 250 to 300k a week, and this is what you're giving me? No, that's not acceptable, bro. Like it's not, man. I'm sorry, like it's not like, and like I said, if it's because you've got some personal issues or things are going around, then fair enough.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, because he for me he looked like because like there's certain games where I just watch him and the body language is just off. Like he doesn't want to be on the pitch, which is weird. So I hope he can go and get the therapy that he needs. But like when you're playing at a top level club, there's not or top level anything in life. When you're going through mental stuff, you need to be taking the time out, or you need to go to like a lower level and rebuild your confidence.
Yeah.
But I'll say this though, like I don't think we can allow RDS to be talking about Weghorst in the same sentence, man. Weghorst was absolutely awful, man. I was looking at Sancho's goals for this season. Like there was a good couple of games or several games where he was scoring or getting some assists. He did have like at least like 30% of the season was good. How many had like maybe a good 10%. Man.
How many goals and assists did he have for United this season, Sancho? How many overall goal in all competitions for a guy. I keep on stressing this. We spent 75 million on this player, and he's one of the most highest paid players at Manchester United. Like, and he's going into his third season now, and he's been poor.
I hear what you're saying, though, but all I say is that he got more than Weghorst. You're putting him on Weghorst level, which is what I have a problem with.
He did, but think about how much hate and slander that people have given Anthony. And Anthony's even had more goals in his first season. And he's getting paid less. This is a guy who's going into his third season for Manchester United, and we're still waiting for him to do stuff, to be consistent. And the frustrating thing that I have about him, and it's not just him, all of our wingers do it, but in particular him, I'm like, his defensive, like that's why I've seen sometimes like Ten Hag even said I've taken him out because he doesn't track back, he doesn't work hard.
Yeah,
I don't like that. Like the reason I think putting Weghorst is because whatever you say about Weghorst at least tried. I can at least see Weghorst running, working hard. I'm not saying he's a great player, but I can see what he's doing. I can see him press. I'm seeing what's doing. That's at the very least all I expect is effort. Like even if you score a really, really good goal, and I'm like, yeah, Sancho's awesome. I'm happy for him. When you consistently, mentally don't put in the effort, it's like, okay, well, I don't know why. And this is going to be the theme for a lot of the players that we're going to come. We're going to finish off with is that I don't know. I don't know. I just think that like if this was his first season, I'd be like, okay, maybe we can see. But this is his second season now, and he's going to his third season. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to expect from Sancho next season.
It's just a shame
from him.
It's a shame because you're putting stuff into a good context. Like obviously, I disagree with like the Weghorst thing, but it's like, I expected to see more dribbling, things like individual talent. We didn't see it. So I was going to argue for average, but 30% of the season, I'm going back against my point now. Playing 30% of the season well that's not even average, man. Like average would be at least half the season. So he probably is poor. I don't know if you're going to go for something worse.
That this guy went from being England call-up. He was in the England team. The guy couldn't get like he was playing. Like whatever you cuss about Southgate, at the end of the day, like he was playing. Like Weghorst got called up to the Dutch. Like Sancho was playing, but he wasn't.
Yes, I acknowledge that point. Yeah, but the thing is with Southgate, there's a bit of nepotism tax. Yeah, Maguire is playing in that team, and he don't even play football. you don't even play club football.
But the thing is, in defense, as we always say, in defense of Maguire has at least shown that he's been good for England, so he's got credit. He's got credit to back on. Sancho for the last 2 years has not shown that he's good for England or that he's good for Manchester United. So you've got to have a base. You've got to have something that people can say, okay, really, Sancho's credit is like the guy bought for Dortmund. That's Sancho's. Yeah. We're still thinking, oh, he did this at Dortmund, did this at Dortmund. Okay, cool, but you're not at Dortmund anymore now. So what are you doing for your nation? What are you doing for United? You're doing neither. So, and now, like, I'll be right. If we keep Sancho, I would start Ahmad over Sancho on the right.
That would be embarrassing for him.
It would be, but I would rather take my chances with Ahmad. Like, and if Ahmad flops, then fine, okay, bring Sancho back in. But
I could even see Garnacho at this point being started over Sancho. So, yeah, it's depressing. Like you just put everything into big context there because I want him to do well. This is the thing. I'm arguing with myself in my mind over just liking him as like
just seeing your comment, Phoenix. We'll just move ahead then, because we are actually over time. It's almost 2 hours. I thought we were going to be an hour, so let's actually just quickly. So I think we can all agree Sancho is going to go into the poor category.
Yeah.
And I would argue that is there really a debate on Martial going into there either?
Could even say NA.
No,
he didn't play enough games.
He didn't. Yeah, he couldn't even make it up on Martial, but I think he needs to be sold, man. He's Again, another talented player, played with injuries, and even when he has played, I don't think he's been consistent enough. And for me, that's been the summer of Anthony Martial for the last 2 or 3 seasons. Injuries, and then when he has played, has had a couple of fantastic games, and then piss poor games. So he's been up some.
Yeah.
So
I tell you what, though, I never forget when he was top scorer for like under Ale, the first season. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was good. He got it, and we were saying, Ollie's getting the strikers thing, but there you go, consistency. And that's the thing. So whatever you say, and I always tell people, I'm like, we're so reactionary merchants in this generation that we see someone do one good season or one good trick, and we're like, this guy is amazing, this etc. No, for me, a world-class player, a top player, you do it season after season after season after season after season. That's why people rate Ronaldo and Messi, because they've done it at the high level for so many seasons, and they take that for granted. But quite frankly, a lot of players, a lot of modern players, especially now, like that, they can't do that. They don't do that, Maguire, you might as well put him here as well, or NA, but Maguire's he sold, should be.
I mean, I don't think we can put him any higher than poor, really, because I mean, even in the games that he did play, he just didn't look interested. He just didn't look like he was there at all. And I'm not even going to get started on the Europa League match when he came on against Seville and headed in an own goal. That was just absolutely ridiculous. The fact that we went 2-0 up and then we drew 2-2.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but Maguire for me, 80 million, not worth it. Not worth the price tag.
You know what? Yeah, he's one of them players that, he's made me troll like my own players. Like with him, he's so mistake prone that I'm like, if he's playing at the top level, he will have the first ever stat of expected mistakes per game, because literally the own goals, passing the ball away, it's just he's shocking when he plays.
Yeah,
shocking.
Yeah, it is.
Poor, sold, move on. Right, okay. Wan-Bissaka, man. I think we said Wan-Bissaka should come to good.
Good.
I think that the case has been made that and this is why, and I don't hate on Sancho, but this is kind of why, I don't have much sympathy for Sancho. Though I don't know what he's going through. Is that Wan-Bissaka, was I don't think what's his name, Ralph rated Wan-Bissaka at all. He was cast out to one side, and even Ten Hag appears to not rate him particularly, or for whatever reason, he's not his thing, etc. And yet, despite that, it was like, what it is? It's fine. I'm not playing. I'm not being picked. I'm second choice. But when I come on, I'm going to take my chance. I'm going to do what I can do. I'm going to do what I do best, and that's what he did. And at the end of the season, the dude ends up being our starting right back. That's what I'm talking about. The mentality. I'm not saying he's been amazing all the time. But that's the mentality that I expect to see from Manchester United players, at least.
Yeah, for sure. Just one more thing on Maguire. Big up to Prima in the comments. Like he's saying worst signing in club history for Maguire. Like I don't know if I'd argue because of that price tag as well. We thought he was going to be a genius for that 80 million. It was going to be like Van Dijk level, just defending in isolation.
The price tag's the biggest thing, but then I guess you could say that, you could say the same with Lukaku. I mean, I guess we sold Lukaku for similar price. It wasn't that big of a deal, but I mean, we spent 80+ million on the dude, and at the end of the day, as to be our striker or go-to, and then we got 2 seasons, then he left. So even though we did get the money back, so it's not as bad.
Because Maguire's going to go for 20 million or 30.
And also, Chelsea spent 100 million to sign him again. So, actually, to be fair, so we actually somehow Lukaku actually retained his value when he left us. But Maguire, no one is paying 80 million for Harry Maguire.
Yeah, I would say definitely worst captain. I think that's not a debate.
Yeah,
worst captain in Man United history.
Yeah, Sanchez is close, but never actually cost us any goals. Yeah, but he was a waste.
Oh, Sanchez was awful.
Alexis Sanchez was a waste man. I just
Yeah.
still put him in that category, man. But yeah.
Yeah.
So Donny van der Beek, who he did play for a bit of the season, but he got injured. Do you say that he goes or in NA or?
Personally, I put him in NA because I don't think I've seen enough of him this season to give him a full rating. Really, with the amount of injuries he had, personally, I put him in NA. If I had to give him a rating, I'd probably say average on the games that he did play. But overall, I think it has to be in NA because he wasn't involved in the season enough.
I really, guys, we've got to like shed a tear for Donny van der Beek, yeah, because the couple of seasons he's wasted under Ole, and then finally when his football dad comes to the club, that Ten Hag, yeah, he's coached them through, from being young, and we were thinking, like I was thinking anyway, okay, Donny van der Beek is going to get put into a system now. He's really going to get that push forward, and then I would say it wasn't even average, to be honest. I would say it was a passenger for a lot of games I watched him, and when he got a chance, I thought he was poor. And for me, I think his morale has been destroyed by Ole not playing him properly. Because when you get left on the sidelines, you dry up. Your fitness can go.
Yeah.
Confidence will go. So yeah, for me, it's unfortunately poor, and yeah, I wish it was better.
To be honest, I actually think that he didn't even when Ten Hag came, like, I mean, he picked him more than Ollie picked him, but I don't think Ten Hag actually picked him that much more, didn't rate him that much more, to be honest. He didn't.
Yeah.
Like, he still put other midfielders like ahead of him, Ericsson, Thingy, etc. And like I said, and then when he said he did play, he didn't really set the light.
Oh, is RDS still there? Is it just me that's seeing RDS frozen?
No. I'm the exact same as well.
Right.
He did say this might happen.
At least we're near the end, aren't we? But
yeah.
He was just saying about Van der Beek not really getting picked by Ten Hag. Yeah, completely agree. I thought he would be getting picked more, but
Well, that's what I thought as well. But I think with the injuries, it's whether Van der Beek has turned around to him and said, "Look, I don't feel great to fully go on."
Yeah, I would say that as well, because that happens to a lot of players. Like when you get injuries, you don't come back the same as well.
No.
Like I said, I mean, I said that all I'm going to say on Donny van der Beek. We had a couple more players to go through. I forgot who it was that we had, but yeah, it's a real shame what happened to Donny. But yeah, people in the comments keep hitting the like. We're near the end. Hopefully RDS comes back.
Yeah. He's just put a comment saying that his laptop's shut down, so bear with him and he'll be back.
Hey, RDS, you there?
Hey, can everyone hear me? Sorry, my laptop, of course, decided that it was going to just completely shut itself off and cause that. So I'm sorry about that, guys. But we can just. I know that because I can't share screen the thing, so I'm sorry about that, everybody. But what I can do is we literally the only player that we had left to discuss was Malacia. So I mean, what do people? So just to finalize, like, what do people think about Malacia, and where do they think that how do they think his season should have been?
Yeah, I think it was average. For me, there was certain games where we saw his weakness of making mistakes, like against Sevilla, but he's got tenacity, good fitness. He just looks like raw material that can be coached. Yeah, I'm saying average.
And Phoenix, what do you say? What's your thoughts?
I'd say average as well. Really, it's not for me. It's not been a season that we could sit here and say, "Oh yeah, it's been a good season. He's done this, he's done that." So for me, it's definitely average.
Cool. Fair. Okay, yeah. That's it. That's the squad. The squad. Again, apologies for the technical issues, guys. That's my fault. Yeah, I think that overall, I think thanks everyone for obviously for coming on. Obviously, shout out to Phoenix and shout out to Eddie. Make sure you head over and subscribe to their channels and follow them on the respective Twitter accounts. Big those guys up. I know it's been very, very long. I think at the end of the day, I think that if you're a United fan, you just want this takeover to go through, because it just seems that we really can't put this season to bed without knowing what's actually going to happen next season. Right now, it's not really there from what I can see. So, but yeah, big up to you guys. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for everyone in the chat as well. Appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter, UnitedX, and smash the notification button. Have a nice day, everyone, and peace. Cheers. Peace.
Cheers.